So here, as you can see from the title of this, Niv 2 my paper deck. This is essentially my Niv Mizzet Reborn commander deck in paper. One of. So what I've done in paper is what I've done, as you can see here with the GGO lists, is I have essentially built a mana base and a ramp package that I have in one deck box, and then in other deck boxes I have all the variations of Niv artifacts. The 12 I own in paper are currently Artifact, Flying, Hate Bears, what are the other ones? Tokens, +1/+1 counters, Chaos, Aristocrats, a split card tribal. I can't remember the rest off the top of my head, but this one was originally my first Niv deck. This was my 5-color good stuff deck, and I've made changes to it since I invented it like nearly a year ago now. But this is card for card, with one exception, which I'll discuss here. Reinterpret, because you can see it has the cursed red circle around it. I've replaced that with the Izzet Charm, because this is the card I was using prior to acquiring a Reinterpret. This is card for card, 100% the in-paper version of the deck. Now, I'm doing this for two reasons. One is it'll be way easier for me to do maintenance on this deck online. And by maintenance, I mean I'm just going to notice things and churn through a few more games, because the biggest problem I had was I was playing this last night at the local game store, and I could not find a line to victory, or I forgot, like, I was making plays for like lands and certain spells that are in the online decks but not in the in-person decks, so I need to be more aware of what's in the deck, if you know what I mean. So to summarize this deck, as you can see, that we are running Jegantha as our companion. So we've made a few adjustments, no time wipe, no real Kaya's Wrath or whatever. And what we're doing is we're running a very powered down mana based ramp. As you can see here, there are a number of lands which enter tapped or ping us for damage. I only have 2 of the triomes because I don't have so I only have 2 triomes, the Abzan triome and the Mardu triome. I have 1 fetch land, which is a Misty Rainforest, which I literally cracked in a pack this week. Old Border Misty Rainforest. I added it to my commander deck because most of my other fetches are in my modern deck, and I looked at it and it didn't do me any favours swapping a Flooded Strand out for this, because the Misty gets the same lands as that, because I've built the modern deck and mana base better. So these are my additional triomes. We have the Temple Scry lands. Ideally I would not be running these, but ultimately I'm reserved on how much I'm investing. I'm also running probably a few more basics than I want, but that's this is what I'm going to judge over time, and I will update this one as I update the paper one. I just want to get more familiar with the deck. So if you look at our ramp package, in addition to running the Jegantha combo, we run Free from the Real. We don't run the Intruder Alarm. Intruder Alarm was, I've discovered, it just gives, unless you're really hardcore in on the combo, Intruder Alarm can just give some other decks like Elves, is very prominent in our play groups, way more power. So we're running Free from the Real to generate absurd amounts of mana, basically. Our ramp package is, we're experimenting with mana dorks to go in. I'm just experimenting with mana dorks to see if they're quicker. Like, all my mana here is 1 or 2, or I can suspend it on 2, or the Hour of Promise, because Hour of Promising off of Bring to Light, or Hour of Promising in general for World Tree, Field of the Dead, is no doubt the greatest play I can make. So I'll just give you a rundown of our ramp. We have a Pilgrim just as a basic mana dork because I don't own a Birds. We have Carpet of Flowers. I cracked in a Mystery Booster and I'm very happy to have that. Dig Up, I like that it just sorts me out a basic land, and late game it can be Find a Key Piece. Farseek and Nature's Law, self-explanatory. Paradise Druid and Sylvan Caryatid, hard to interact with, hexproof, mana dorks, add any colour. Free visits, always solid. Search Tomorrow can see suspended, or it is so I technically consider it 2 because you tap for free and the land comes in untapped. Our Promise we've self-explained. So now if we go into the colour to show the breakdown of the current deck, and we move the honorary cards to their honorary colours, we've got a pretty solid breakdown. Free from Will obviously is its own thing. There's our ramp package of 10 cards. So we're running a lot of interactive spells. So Azorius, we have a blink spell for Niv or any target. I like Turn to Mist because in paper I've used it to blink something to prevent a combo. I blinked, what was it? I blinked a Fram before it could be equipped with a Commander's Plate to just not bias a turn, but to just ensure that I wasn't going to get hit that much. Then we have Azorius Charm. It's at the absolute worst, it replaces itself. Life gain can be really relevant in this deck, and hosing a player by flipping a creature back on top of their deck is very good. Soul Herder, you know why this is in here. Flicker and Niv or anything else of value. Azorius is a lot of removal in this deck. We have Despark, Anguish Unmaking, Kaya's Garth, Graveyard Hate and Sacrifice, and Utter End. Moving into our Dimir, we're running Tyrant Scorn for removal. So killing a low-cost commander is absolutely great with this card, but also just don't underestimate the ability of bouncing something. So consider someone puts loads of auras or equipment on something and you bounce it back to hand, or they tap out and spend their treasure to cast their big creature and you bounce it back to their hand. Always solid. Perplex is primarily in here to find Free from the Real from the transmute ability. It's also a good counter spell. Like, if you have to counter something, like, people will not want to discard their hands, so it still works pretty good. Counter spell that returns a creature from our graveyard. Spoiler alert, there's a few key creatures we get back as we go down. Fever of Sanity is a holdover from the first iteration of the deck. I'm not sure. I think this should be changed soon. Hopefully Kamigawa gives me something interesting to put in, something good to do. Is it I need to buff up? So from my first official look at this, I need to buff up Azorius and Is it definitely. Expressive Iteration, Is it Charm, as we've discussed, should be Reinterpret, and Ral the Storm Conduit. We do not have the infinite spell combo in here, but Ral's ability to ping and his ability to copy like a removal spell is just really solid to keep in mind. Surge Kindler is a haste enabler for Jegantha or Niv if we need it. Rakdos Charm, good all-round answer. Terminate, good spot removal. You'd be surprised how many decks, particularly in line and on paper, really function around the commander. So just being like, I terminate your Hydra. Yeah, you kill one of my creatures with a fight trigger, but it doesn't matter. Kolaghan's Command. Return a creature is the true value here. So 9 times out of 10, this command will be used to return a creature card from a graveyard to your hand and destroy an artifact. Never say no. Kirador the Doom Scourge, one of the best cards they've printed this last year. This breaks board states. It's weird protection because the trigger goes on the player, so they can't get around it by flopping in haste creatures to attack you. Very unoften, it creates like very cool board states where people are like, I could stop myself from attacking, but then I'll get eaten by this person's attack and this person won't do so. It's good stall on a board breaking protection. Flickering this with Soul Herder every turn is just like, people just don't know how to win from that point onwards. Valky and Tibalt. I will get a game of Commander where I get a Tibalt with 4 active players and steal 4 cards. I've only ever achieved it with 1-on-1 at the moment. Well, when we get to the 1-on-1 point. So, we have our Treasured Find in all our decks as expected. I am running Witherbloom Command at the moment because I got a lot of the commands foil. I actually like it. The Destroy 2 mana or less is usually very relevant, And milling to return a land can work if we've been hit hard, but it also can just be, it's on the edge for me. I'm going to keep it in for now, but I do enjoy it. Putrefy, spot removal for artifact or creature, always solid. Culling Ritual, absolute powerhouse of a card. I cast this against a Fram last night. He was not impressed. Garruk, the Cursed Huntsman. I have the extended full art version in paper that I got in Eldraine, and I have run it in every version of the deck. He is my Hail Mary 6 mana most expensive card in the deck in terms of mana value, and I do still love him. If I resolve that emblem, it's great, but as I've said, he's one of the reasons I'm doing this is to look for other ways to grind value and win. Sin Divine's great against non-creature based decks, and also just a solid thing to just take out a key enchantment if we're in danger. Tuzar Druid is an honorary mana dork because in the event that we can make infinite mana, actually he doesn't work without the Intruder Alarm, does he? He's just a solid mana dork at the moment. I need to look at ways to truly break this deck wide open. Ooh, excuse me. Dire Strain Rampage. I've been really impressed with this card. I have had many people, well not in paper, get very angry at this card because, and I've been angry at this card too. I put it in because it was played against me to take out my Field of the Dead. As I've seen a couple of people say that there needs to be more land hate. I like this as land hate. I like that it can target a land, give them 2 basic lands, or take out a key artifact or enchantment, give them a land. It's basically an Assassin's Trophy, or a super. It's a worse Assassin's Trophy, but I really am impressed with it. Files of Yavimaya, the static ability of haste, just really good. I'm running this in this deck over the Samut the Tested. Samut's great, but she is too easy to disrupt as a human. That can just be pinged off and killed. Clovis, great card, really enjoy it. Just incidental graveyard hate, and just sitting out on the board as a blocker can really save the life. Struggle to Survive, our protection against mill / our reuse our deck. Boros, we have Boros Charm for protection. Rip Apart for select removal. You'd be surprised how much the free damage picks off. General Furious Roderick. If he's on the field, then people need to get scared because this guy's insane. Reconstruct History, an absolute powerhouse of a card. More people need to run this basically. Return up to 1 enchantment, up to 1 target instant, sorcery, and 1 planeswalker. So everything but a land and a creature. It is really good. Solar Blaze is solid removal as it can be. Lawhold Command is kind of like an expensive Boros Charm. It can protect, draw cards, do all the things we need. Alright, on to Selesnya. Reborn Hope, another favourite of mine. Return a multicolour card to hand, so return any card from my deck. Sterling Grove is another tutor effect to help us find the Free from the Real for the combo. Excuse me. Fragrant Elder, another big mana dork, really strong in this deck. And Knight of Autumn, all good round creature. Finally, we have Simic, which is Coiling Oracle. Decisive Denial. I am 50-50 on this card. I've put it in because I'm like, Niv as a 6/6 removal is great, and also using it, for example, to just get a death touch thing or take out something key. The fight's really good, and a Desperation's counterspell. I'm gonna stick with it. Growth Spiral doesn't need explanation, except for the one I have in my collection is the Japanese Mystical Archive one that I nearly broke my friend's hand off trying to trade it with him. Curious Follower, absurd card, just because we have so many things that can make big mana like Faber Elder or Gigantha, this basically reads double whatever the mana was produced from target permanent. Quadrix Apprentice. I really like this guy. I love that he just sorts out your land drops for the next couple of turns. Like, if you drop him and cast 2 spells before he gets like killed, board wiped, or have to chomp with him, if he's looked at the top 3 cards and like got you 2 more lands, your next 2 land drops are sorted, can't complain about it. Quadrix Command. Bounce spell, counter spell for artifact or enchantment. Very relevant half the time. A lot of artifact things are relevant in the deck. Shuffling graveyards in also because it lets you target the free cards. You can literally just pick out free things, like if your Muldrotha player is going for something degenerate, you can just go, okay, this and this, shuffle back into your library. Also, it's a pump spell for Niv if we need it, and Bring to Light, which is basically every other card in the deck. So if we look at the mana value distribution of this deck, because it's a very strong on 2 as it should be, because we're doing multicolored. Our biggest hitter is Garruk for 6 mana. Still one of my favourites. But yes, we have a good curve of just like up and down. Curving towards 2. We have the combo with Freed from the Real to generate near infinite mana. We don't have an outlet, looking at it this way. You know what, if I don't stop this tech, I'm going to keep talking and theorizing. But this is what you're going to see going forward. I'm going to be playing, if you see the title of the video is my paper deck MTGO gameplay, this is ultimately what I'm doing. And I'll update you with any changes as it goes along. Thank you.